Battle Through the Heavens God, The Flame Emperor Chapter 166, 3 Flame Flowers. Xiaoyan and the old man came to the entrance of the 3rd floor and found that there was only one guardian here, but his strength was quite tyrannical. Old Wang. The gatekeeper looked at the old man coming up, and said hurriedly and respectfully, and then looked at Xiaoyan next to him with an embarrassed look on his face. My people can go in, said the old man known as Wang Lao. I'm sorry old Wang, the rules are like this, please. Before the gatekeeper finished speaking, he saw an alchemist hat and an alchemist medal in Xiaoyan's hand. Usually, 1 star is a first-grade alchemist. As for the medal of an imperial alchemist, the word emperor is inscribed on it, and 2 stars are also hung brightly on it. For an emperor-level alchemist, 1 star is a first-grade emperor rank alchemist, and a 2nd star is an emperor rank first-grade mysterious alchemist. The gatekeeper's pupils also shrank tightly. Compared with the 4-star Do Di Strong, the alchemist is actually more respectable. This young boy is actually a high-level alchemist who can refine a first-grade emperor-level medicinal pill. Dear Emperor rank 2-star alchemist, please. The gatekeeper was also respectful and made a gesture of invitation. Hearing that, Xiaoyan also took back his medal and followed. Old mister, let's go. Xiaoyan also said plainly. After all, Xiaoyan was disguised now, and they couldn't recognize their true colors, so they were relieved to show these things. I can't see that you are hiding deep enough. The old man was also shocked by Xiaoyan's 2-star emperor rank medal. After all, this thing can't be faked. Where is it? Xiaoyan also said modestly. I have to say, sometimes I really envy you alchemist. Refining medicinal pills for others is to make others die for them. Hey, let's go. The old man said while leading the way, but his eyes and voice could not hide the envy of Xiaoyan's identity as an alchemist. As soon as we entered the 3rd floor, a seductive scent of medicinal herbs rushed to their face, but the number of people became very desolate. Looking around, there were only a dozen people on the 3rd floor, and some stalls were filled with some precious medicinal materials and high-rank pills, but without exception, no one guards these booths. This is the 3rd floor, with the safest security guards, so any medicinal materials and medicinal herbs only need to be registered and placed here, and there will naturally be a special person to take care of them, and those who buy can also watch it at will, but only from a distance. Don't touch it, otherwise. The old man also explained his confusion. Yeah. Hearing this, Xiaoyan was also stunned. No wonder there were no guards in the booths on the 3rd floor, only some people were constantly looking for what they needed. Let's go, I'll take you to get that medicinal herb, which is also a gift for your medicinal herb. The old man also knew that in terms of value, the value of his soil and the void transformation pill were not on the same level. Go on, and the kid in front of him is actually such a powerful alchemist, he has to give him a good impression. Anyway, he doesn't know what the medicinal herbs are, so it is better to give this alchemist a favor. Shenhuya, Tian Lianggu. Xiaoyan kept saying the names of many treasures of heaven and earth. The boy next to the old man is like this, and the old man also smiled and said that if he can have a good relationship with an alchemist, it will be much more convenient to find him to refine medicine in the future. It's here, the old man said casually. Xiaoyan also turned his attention to the booth on the 3rd floor. 3 flame flowers. Xiaoyan's eyes just turned around when he was attracted by an unremarkable medicinal herb on the latter's booth. A small plant like a sapling, the size of its own arm, with a few green leaves of various shapes on the branches, but the most attractive is that on the top, 3 leaves slowly surround, 3 different colors, and if you look closely, you will find that the 3 colors on the 3 leaves seem to be some flames, exuding some hot temperatures. Xiaoyan's heart was also calm at this time, thinking about how to buy these 3 flaming flowers. Although what is needed to devour the holy flames is the 7 flames flowers, but that thing is hard to come by. Now that I have encountered the 3 flames flowers, I will also make preparations as soon as possible. Unexpectedly, the 3 flame flower was picked up by the old man, and then said to Xiaoyan, how about those soils and this medicinal material in exchange for your void transformation pill? The old man also looked at Xiaoyan with a smile. From originally wanting to take advantage of Xiaoyan and taking Xiaoyan as a slaughter, to now trying his best to befriend Xiaoyan, his attitude has also undergone earth-shaking changes. This is the invisible demonstration caused by the powerful refining skill. Xiaoyan is also very satisfied with this. Just now, he was thinking about how to get the 3 flaming flowers, but he never thought that this old man would actually bring it to his door. As expected, alchemist is the most popular profession. What is this, old gentleman? Although Xiaoyan's heart had already blossomed with laughter, the value of these 3 flaming flowers and Xian had already exceeded the void transformation pill by too much, but he still had to do his best to avoid being turned back by the old man halfway through. I don't know what use this thing is. I took it next to the beast of the 5th rank of the Emperor. After I took it, I didn't know the secret. Therefore, for us cultivators, this is useless. Since little brother and I are destined, then I will give you this medicinal herb. The old man also said quite readily. I can't see how precious this medicinal material is, but I still thank my predecessors. He also took the THRE flames flower from the old man's hand, but when he put it away early, an unexpected voice suddenly sounded. I have taken a fancy to this medicinal material. This old gentleman should sell it to me. You will be satisfied with the price. A loud voice also sounded on the 3rd floor. Xiaoyan looked around and found that it was a man wearing expensive clothes, and Xiaoyan could sense that this man had a strong smell of a stubborn child. I've made a deal with this little friend, you should look for another herb. The old man also said lightly, and the implication was obvious. I don't make money without making money, I really don't understand. The man wearing expensive clothes also said, this friend, please also sell me the medicinal materials in your hand, the price will naturally satisfy you. After he finished speaking, he walked towards Xiaoyan, as if he was going to take away the 3 flame flowers from Xiaoyan's hand. Oh, what if I don't sell it? Xiaoyan was also ready to fight at any time. You seem to have come to the wrong place. The old man shouted loudly, and then the breath all over his body also emanated. Old Wang, esteemed 2-star alchemist of the Emperor rank, please calm down, we will handle this matter and explain to you one by one. A steward also quickly appeared in front of several people and said respectfully, 5-star Dodi, the alchemist of the 2nd-star Emperor. The arrogant aura of the man wearing expensive clothes disappeared, and he found that this time he had provoked some people he couldn't afford to offend. This time, it seems to have hit the Chapter 167, The Invisible Power of High-Level Alchemist. This is not a place where you can go wild, the steward said in an angry voice to the man in expensive clothes. Not to mention who the man in expensive clothes is, but the strength of the 5-star Do De Wang Lao in front of him is not something he can afford, not to mention the 2-star Emperor alchemist next to him, so he is also in charge. Don't care about the identity of the man who caused trouble. Don't you have eyes? Why don't you quickly hand over the things that my master likes, or else? An attendant behind the man wearing expensive clothes said, unaware of the situation. Hey, this is how this Dan Feng treats guests, it's really disappointing. Xiaoyan also said lightly, and there was no lack of sourness in his words. Adult, calm down, I will give you a satisfactory explanation. The steward also said sweatingly, this seemingly weak scholar at such a young age is an alchemist who can advance to the 2nd star of the Emperor rank, so the forces behind him can be described as horror. If you anger such a big man, then your end will be very miserable. Are you two going to be private or should we settle it? You made trouble in our alchemy workshop, and you chose the wrong place. The steward also snorted coldly. It's not good for these two to provoke them, but they want to provoke a high-level alchemist. Shut up. The man in expensive clothes also glanced viciously at the entourage behind him, then clasped his fists respectfully towards Xiaoyan and said, this sir, we have eyes but don't know how mountains high, and we still hope to practice. Don't worry about it, mister, please accept it with a smile. After speaking, a card in his hand appeared and handed it to Xiaoyan. Only the 4-star Do De card can be used, and looking at the number on the card, there are as many as 1 million. Although the amount of 1 million is not too huge for Xiaoyan and the others, but being able to use 1 million at will is enough to show that the power behind this man is quite strong. Haha, isn't 1 million too little? And you also know that the most important thing an alchemist lacks is money. Just when Xiaoyan was about to speak, the old man who was trading with Xiaoyan also said it. Obviously, seeing Li's rudeness just now also angered him. Let seeing Ellie bleed heavily as a lesson. in charge, I'll leave it to you to handle it. Xiaoyan also understood the old man's thoughts, and then cooperated with the performance. Yes, my lord. The steward also wanted to arrest Xing Eli and the two when he heard that. Wait a minute. Respected alchemist, this is a precious medicinal material called soul-warming stone. Wearing it for a long time can increase the wearer's soul power. I think it is quite suitable for an alchemist like you. Xing Eli also spoke out loudly, and then scolded a few words in his heart, bastard. After all, in the current state, the old man and the high-level alchemist have clearly reached an agreement. Obviously, he wants Xing Eli to bleed heavily, otherwise he would really cause trouble today. Oh, then let's forget about it, Your Excellency. Xiaoyan also waved casually, and then the 4-pattern do card and soul-warming stone were also accepted by Xiaoyan. The moment Xiaoyan accepted the 4-pattern do card and the warm soul stone, Xing Li's eyelids also twitched violently, and he was obviously very distressed. It was only a small amount, but he bought this soul-warming stone after spending nearly 10 million yuan. Since that's the case, I would like to thank the alchemist master. We have to leave beforehand. Xing Eli also said, and then his eyes moved slightly, signaling his entourage to follow. He, the old gentleman is really cruel. Xiaoyan also said. It's just a lesson for two ignorant people, it's also a lesson for them. The old man laughed. Let's go back to the second floor and I'll tidy up the soil and then our transaction is complete. The old man also said, after all, the void transformation pill in Xiaoyan's hand had already been traded to the old man, so that's why the old man came later. Of these actions, yeah, Xiaoyan also responded. After all, this is a pill shop. Even Xiaoyan gave the pill to the old man for his reasons. First, it was to gain the trust of the old man. Second, he didn't worry about any problems with this transaction. After all, since this pill shop can be here a prime location with such a huge flow of people is also enough to show that the energy behind this pill shop is not small, and every person who sells medicinal materials and pills in this consignment must have done a detailed registration, so Xiaoyan is also relieved. If that's the case, it's a good deal. If this little brother needs any medicinal materials in the future, just come and find me in this pill shop. The old man also made a deal with Xiaoyan and made a registration. What the old man said is very true, I will leave first, and I have something to do. Xiaoyan also clasped his fists and said to the old man, well, be careful on the road, maybe the two of them will shoot at you. The old man also said with a smile, obviously he was old and sophisticated, and he could clearly see some different looks in Xing Li's eyes. Many thanks for the reminder, old gentleman. Xiaoyan also responded. Xiaoyan naturally discovered the little movement in Xing Li's heart, but Xiaoyan didn't take the strength of the mere 4-star do the early stage. After all, people with this price, Xiaoyan can handle it with one hand. Go down and check this alchemist named Yan Xiao with a 2-star emperor rank. For bleeding me a lot, I'll make you pay it back. This entourage. Master, this emperor rank 2-star alchemist is not easy to mess with. Before coming out of the family, it was explained that the alchemist is the most difficult person to mess with. If one is careless. The entourage was also extremely worried, obviously the big man in the family before going out. He has repeatedly emphasized not to provoke an alchemist. Don't worry, if there is no accident, I will send him to hell. Xing Eli also said with a grim expression. Obviously the embarrassment just now made Xing Eli quite unhappy. As for the case at home, you know how to do it. Xing Eli also did not forget to instruct his entourage to prevent him from harming his own good deeds. Well, I know. After speaking, he disappeared like a ghost. Bastard, I'll just let you have a worst death. I will retrieve the 3 flame flower and soul-warming stone unscathed. Xingle also stared at the Danfang and said viciously, and after speaking, he disappeared in a street with huge traffic. When Xiaoyan came out of the Danfang, he saw that it was getting late, and he got up and walked towards his residence. At the same time, he was also quite interested in the warm soul stone he had just obtained. Inside the ring, there are also extremely gentle forces nourishing Xiaoyan's soul realm. Yuuru, what's wrong? Xiaoyan walked to his door and found a figure he thought he was familiar with. He walked in and saw that it was Yuuru. He immediately opened his door and invited Yuuru. Chapter 168, Mysterious black gas? Strange place. Well, there's nothing wrong, it's just that someone went missing before, and I'm just worried for you. Seeing that Xiaoyan was fine, Yuoro was relieved. He was somewhat relieved. No, but you should be careful. Xiaoyan also spoke to comfort. Obviously Xiaoyan understood Yuoro's mind, but Xiaoyan was not a ruthless person, and he still had some secrets that he had not solved. But in the final analysis, Xiaoyan was just taking care of Yuoro as a brother and a sister. After all, they were the first group of people who helped him when he came to Dode continent. What happened to you yesterday? Yuoro also bit her lips slightly, obviously unsure whether she should ask. Yesterday, nothing happened, that is, there was some abnormality. In the soul power, senior brother Mo Chen took me to the person in charge, and now it's resolved. Xiaoyan also noticed Yuoro's actions and said, Xiaoyan, I don't know if you noticed. There seems to be something else here. I slept very badly last night, and the runes on my forehead always exude a force. I don't know what's going on. Yuoro also looked at Xiaoyan suspiciously, with a tone of help from Xiaoyan. Oh. Hearing that, Xiaoyan also looked at Yuoro carefully. Indeed, there were some thick dark circles around the corner of Yuoro's eyes, obviously because she was not resting well. Can you take a look at it for me? Yuoro also bit her lips slightly, and then asked with a blushing face. That's not good, this rune is your inheritance. Xiaoyan hurriedly refused when he saw this, but before Xiaoyan finished his words, the mysterious rune on Yuoro's forehead was also under Yuoro's control. Exudes a faint light in degrees. Seeing this mysterious rune, Xiaoyan couldn't evade it, so he had to activate his own Doqi protection body and look at Yuoro's forehead, ready to investigate. After all, the inheritance of this mysterious rune came from the bright moon fairy. Although I don't know how powerful it is, but if you can call yourself an immortal, then your strength is undoubtedly a Do immortal. How could something that could be related to Do Xian be ordinary? So Xiaoyan had to be careful. The rune on Yuoro's forehead also slowly radiated out. Xiaoyan frowned. He could feel a powerful force from this trace of power, which seemed to be sealed within Yuoro's body. This power is not sealed in my body, and I have something in my body that can communicate this power. With the help of crescent moon green fruit, I can only accept that inheritance when my strength reaches it. Yuoro also noticed Xiaoyan. The change of expression, softly said, What level do you want to reach? Xiaoyan also asked curiously. At least you have to reach the 5-star Dode. Yuoro also said somewhat weakly. After all, the promotion of each star of this Dode is extremely difficult. Don't worry, I believe that your future achievements will definitely be more than 5-star Dode. Xiaoyan also comforted. Well, it's just that the place to go when you accept the inheritance is really. Will you accompany me when my strength reaches 5-star Dode? Yuoro also said softly, with a rare strength and expectation in her voice. I'll accompany you at any time. Xiaoyan also looked at Yuoro and couldn't bear to refuse, but he didn't know that in the distant future, Xiaoyan would regret this decision. Pull the hook, hang yourself, it will not change for 100 years. Yuoro also regained her smile, pulling up Xiaoyan's fingers and touching them together. Xiaoyan couldn't beat her, so she had to do these little things. Afterwards, Xiaoyan also used his soul power to inspect Yuoro's body, but found nothing, so he had to do it, and then explained a few words to Yuoro. I haven't noticed anything wrong, but I'd better be careful these days. These are some medicinal pills to soothe the nerves. You should be able to sleep well after taking them tonight. Xiaoyan also took out some medicinal pills and said to Yuoro, No, these things are too precious, I can't take them. Yuoro also evaded, looking like a little daughter-in-law, which made Xiaoyan laugh and say, Take it, you, and me too. Why do people need to be so polite? Okay, but just treat it as what I owe you, and I will pay you back in the future. Yuoro also took the medicine pill from Xiaoyan's hand, and then swore to Xiaoyan. Okay. Xiaoyan hurriedly agreed where he needed Yuoro to repay him. The two chatted for a while, and Xiaoyan saw Yuoro yawning and escorted Yuoro to her residence before returning to her place with confidence. After carefully inspecting the surroundings, he laid down a soul barrier. Xiaoyan felt relieved after doing all of this. Then he took out the purple clay-shaped Lingxian and 3 flame flower, the soul-warming stone and the 1 million with the 4-pattern Dode card of gold coins. This clay-shaped Lingxian is also easy to handle. It only needs to be baked with flames when using it, and Xiaoyan bought the 3-flame flower with a foolproof mentality. The land is different. But it is not a kind of fate to meet 3-flame flower, so I bought it early. Xiaoyan, the 4-pattern Dou card, was also put into the Emperor Yin ring together with Lingxian and the 3-flame flower without even looking at it. Then he carefully looked at this small piece of stone in front of him. The soul-warming stone is about the size of Xiaoyan's palm, and its shape is irregular. But its surface has a layer of lustrous luster, which is indescribably beautiful. Xiaoyan also slowly placed his palm on the soul-warming stone, but found that there was a very small ray of light penetrating into his body from the soul-warming stone, and then Xiaoyan felt that it was originally because of the test. And the soul power in the consumed soul realm is recovering at a speed visible to the naked. The speed is also quite slow. With this astonishing discovery, Xiaoyan was also quite overjoyed. Sure enough, the Dou continent deserves to be a high-level plane, and there are many strange things. Where in the world can there be such a good thing? This soul-warming stone is good, but it also has limitations. According to your current soul power, the stone in your hand will definitely become a waste stone within 5 times. The Golden Dragon King is also speak out. Hearing this, Xiaoyan also said in frustration. This soul-warming stone is divided into upper, middle, and lower grades. It stores soul power. Others can absorb the soul power in it when it operates. However, if it is absorbed, it will become a waste stone. The Golden Dragon King sound also came out. Yeah. Hearing that, Xiaoyan also put away the soul-warming stone and prepared to rest. After all, there will be a notice for the 5th level talent and selection competition tomorrow. Just as Xiaoyan was about to lie down, a cloud of black gas appeared in the midair of the brightly lit room and quite eerie. Then the black energy attacked Xiaoyan as if looking for a target. Xiaoyan, be careful of that black she. The voice of the Golden Dragon King also sounded like a giant thunder in Xiaoyan's heart. Bang! After the black air touched Xiaoyan, it sounded like a balloon being punctured. Xiaoyan disappeared into his room, and when he reappeared, it was already a place full of Chapter 169, in Yumafang, the mysterious cold pool. Where is this? Xiaoyan was also shocked by this sudden scene. He was just about to lie down to rest, but unexpectedly, he came to this dark place after his master, the Golden Dragon King, gave a startled shout. Looking around, in the pitch-black space, he seemed to be lying on a stone bed. But it's too late to be surprised. The huge soul power is covered in all directions. The first thing to figure out is where it is. Master, this is? Xiaoyan also asked in his heart. This seems to be an underground world, and the ghosts are also very dignified. In short, be careful. The voice of his master, the Golden Dragon King, also sounded. In Xiaoyan's perception, this place seems to be a huge underground world with intricate passages extending in all directions. I don't know why the people above are arresting so many people. The people above said that the previous batch of people is still not enough, and they have to arrest some more. But this time, I have taken so many people, so I'm not afraid of attracting the attention of the senior officials of Suan 3 days, but these are not things that we need to worry about. This time I found someone who lives in the Tianzi room. The person who can live in the Tianzi room is... An illusory voice was also heard by Xiaoyan. Hearing that, Xiaoyan was also thinking quickly. The unknown world is still unstoppable, and it is better to wait for the opportunity to move. Xiaoyan also closed his eyes when he had a plan. Hey, why is the strength of the peak of the 3-star Dodi also living in the Tianzi room? The people who were captured before living in the Tianzi room are at least the strength of the 4-star Dodi, or these humans mistaken? A shadow also walked into the stone bed and sensed Xiaoyan. It is more appropriate to say that it is walking, rather than floating, because the shadow is floating in the air, and it has no feet at all. Just when the shadow sensed Xiaoyan, Xiaoyan also felt that the shadow's aura was gloomy and strange, which was not like the aura of a human being or an alien race at all. The aura of the shadow in front of him seems to be quite similar to his own master, the Golden Dragon King, who is in a state of soul. It's actually a ghost. The Golden Dragon King's voice also sounded solemnly in Xiaoyan's mind. A ghost. Xiaoyan also frowned. Yes, ghost. It's the creatures in the ghost world. The aura of the creatures in the ghost world is known for being eerie, and it's quite troublesome once the ghost aura enters the body. Anyway, be careful. The Golden Dragon King also said solemnly. Yeah. Xiaoyan also agreed, and then he was extremely shocked, but he didn't have too many needles, and lay quietly on the stone bed. Take this human over there. After the black shadow finished speaking, several figures appeared like the living dead. They had the same body as a human walking on land, but strangely, their eyes were eclipsed. Tick-tock. The low sound of water droplets is also very noticeable in this dim passage. After a while, Xiaoyan was carried to a bright stone room. There was a cold pool in the stone room, and there were many human beings who looked like him. Why is he here too? Xiaoyan was gently put down, and the huge soul force had been quietly investigating since he came here, and found that there was a little Taoist priest wearing a Taoist robe beside him. It was the person he met in the tea house before. It seemed that his name was Mu Feng. The Dao-robed boy also seemed to find another person beside him. Immediately, he moved his fingers. Once there was a faint light, it flew towards Xiaoyan from his fingers. You also said, it's very dangerous here. A small light came to Xiaoyan, and a voice also appeared in Xiaoyan's mind. It's really amazing to carry the sound with strength. Xiaoyan was too busy to be amazed, and then a beam of light faintly moved towards Mu Feng. I don't know, I didn't know why I came here while I was still sleeping in bed. Xiaoyan also said what he meant. Wait a while, I'll take you away. Mu Feng also confidently conveyed the message to Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan did not continue to transmit the information after receiving the information. After all, if it was discovered, how's the preparation going? Not long after, a shadowy figure also said in Hanqi, with these people, there are a total of 100 people, so it should be fine. There was a voice that came from nowhere, but it was also respectful. Humph. Mere human beings, this time I will let you know the name of our ghost world. Ha ha ha. The ghostly aura of the figure standing beside Hanqi also became more and more solid, and under Xiao Yan's perception, this black figure's strength seemed to be less than Hoodoo. The shadow stayed for a while, then left the stone room, and the whole stone room returned to silence. Let's go. When he heard Xiaoyan, he got up immediately, and Mu Feng also got up after finishing speaking. Damn it, what is this? Xiaoyan came to the door of the stone room, but found that there was an invisible force blocking this place, and he couldn't get out. Look at me. Yin and Yang and the 5 elements, all things come together. Hidden. Mu Feng chanted some strange incantations, and after Mu Feng finished chanting, Xiaoyan and his body also became illusory. Don't worry, this is only temporary. Mu Feng also saw that Xiaoyan's expression was wrong and said. When Xiaoyan heard this, he also had a new understanding of this Mu Feng. Such a powerful method obviously often dealt with this ghost. After doing all this, Mu Feng also walked slowly to the cold pond and looked at the place carefully. In the stone room, except for some comatose peers, this is the cold pool. The cold pool is not big, only about a zhang in diameter. The water is dark and it looks very deep. Xiaoyan stood by the pool, looked at the pool silently, and suddenly asked, Don't you think there is something strange about this cold pool? Hearing this, Mu Feng calmed down and looked at Hanqi, as if thinking about something. At this time, Mu Feng took a step back, with his hands making strange handprints on his chest, his feet moved slightly, and he said something in a few steps. After a while, he suddenly opened his mouth and said, Yin and Yang and the 5 elements, the universe is transformed, the magic eye, open. When the words fell, he saw 2 strange lights shot out of his eyes, which instantly shot straight into the cold pool, which was extremely mysterious. Mu Feng said with a surprised expression, according to the results of my investigation, the gloomy and ghostly auras at the bottom of this pond are very powerful. It seems that there are some powerful ghosts hidden, so be careful. And there is an eye of a cold spring at the bottom of this pond. There is a jade talisman in the spring, and it seems that some cracks have already formed. Looking at that appearance, I am afraid it is caused by suppressing this powerful ghost, maybe because of a long time has been eroded by that ghostly energy, and is slowly shattering. Xiaoyan frowned when he heard the words. He also detected the situation that Mu Feng said under the perception of soul power. But more importantly, he also found that there was a seal in the eye of the yin spring at the bottom of the pond, and the gloomy ghost inside it was growing rapidly, and its speed was astonishing. It seems that he is trying to charge up to attack this seal. Next to the eye of Yinquan, there is an irregular groove. It seems that there should be something there before, but unfortunately there is. Chapter 170, The First Battle of Ghosts. It's also a scourge for things to come out here. Why don't we join forces to solve it? Mu Feng and Xiaoyan stood by the cold pool, and then Mu Feng said excitedly, "It's not very good." Xiaoyan also refused. After all, the two of them had only met twice. Although they knew that Mu Feng was also here to participate in the test and selection, they had to be defensive, not to mention in the cold pool. The things are too weird. This Mu Feng actually wants to deal with him by himself. It must be a conspiracy. How can you do this? I kindly save you, but you don't want to kill the people. If the things in this cold pond escape, I don't know how many people will suffer. Mu Feng also scolded Xiaoyan with hatred. Xiaoyan was also convinced by this Mu Feng's childlike character, and it was not easy to refuse immediately. After all, he was helped by this Mu Feng's invisibility just now, and then he saw that Mu Feng didn't have a trace here. Because Xiaoyan saw something different in his eyes, he was very excited. This kid should know some unknown secrets. Are you sure? Xiaoyan was also a little uncertain. After all, even Xiaoyan couldn't perceive the power of ghosts under the cold pond. They must be extremely powerful. Moreover, Xiaoyan had never dealt with such a thing before. It's even more tricky to get up. If one is not careful, then the two of them are also. I'm not sure. But I believe you have also heard what that person said before. There are so many people here, all of them are newcomers who came to participate in the selection. If you look carefully, there are hundreds of people here. Xiaoyan just finished Mu Feng's voice. Even if he turned his head to look, there were many black figures standing not far from the two of them, and there were as many as 100 people. If my expectations are correct, these people will all be thrown into this cold pond. Once the ghosts in this cold pond break the seal, even the chief person in charge here will be more fortunate. So do you dare to try? Mu Feng did not hide it from Xiaoyan. After all, the latter had a powerful power that was barely there. Even Mu Feng couldn't match it, but when it comes to dealing with ghosts, Mu Feng has a lot of power. Quite confident than Xiaoyan. After all, he has dealt with these ghosts since he was a child. Then let's give it a try. If something is wrong, run away immediately. Xiaoyan also said solemnly. I knew you would do this. Mu Feng also said as if he had expected Xiaoyan's actions. Be careful. Xiaoyan was also emphasizing that Mu Feng's soul power was obviously not as strong as Xiaoyan's. Xiaoyan could feel a faint wave of fluctuations in this cold pool, full of the smell of death. I saw Mu Feng, the ring on his finger flashed, and something appeared on his left and right hands. There were words in his mouth, and then layers of blue light appeared all over his body. The light on his left hand drew, and his right hand clenched the wooden sword, and his body moved around the cold pool. Mu Feng muttered words in his mouth, and swung the wooden sword in his right hand. Eagerly, like a master of folk practice casting spells, which was very funny. Xiaoyan watched from the side and couldn't help but chuckle. He thought this kid was very weird, but he also felt that there were bursts of light appearing where Mu Feng walked, and there was also a terror on the wooden sword. The power is brewing. However, the Golden Dragon King, who was entrenched in Xiaoyan's body, had a trace of deep thought in his eyes at this time, as if he had thought of something, and was a little surprised. I never imagined that there are still people in this world who master the art of Gossipian and Yang. The Golden Dragon King also spoke slowly. Gossipian and Yang technique. Xiaoyan was also surprised. Xiaoyan had heard from his master Golden Dragon King before, that this world is very big, and there are many people who practice in other ways. Xiaoyan only understood at this time that it was no wonder that Mu Feng was not afraid of this spooky ghost. It turned out that he was carrying a treasure. How can something in this pond feel familiar? The Golden Dragon King also said solemnly, but Xiaoyan stared at Han Qi and didn't hear it. Mu Feng snorted lightly, and saw the wooden sword in his hand suddenly burst out with a powerful blue light, slashing down at Han Qi. Immediately, the powerful cyan sword Qi hit the surface of the pool in an instant, and a loud noise came, and the water splashed several meters high. Immediately afterwards, he saw countless black smoke in the cold pond slowly emerging, and slowly disappearing into nothingness under Mu Fang's blue sword energy. After Mu Fang slashed out with his sword, he instantly took out a blood-colored paper talisman with his left hand, bit his right index finger, and quickly wrote a long string of blood spells on the talisman, and then immediately slapped it towards Han Chi. He saw that blood talisman suddenly turned into a huge energy dragon, and instantly entered the cold pool. As soon as the blood talisman entered the cold pond, the water in the cold pond suddenly swelled, and it seemed to be afraid of the blood talisman. Then the gurgling sound accompanied by countless black gases floated up from the pool, and then turned into thin threads under the power of the blood talisman, disappeared into the air. At this time, the entire water surface shook violently. The waves in the pool were getting bigger and bigger, and then a black attack beam of light instantly shot out from the pool, breaking through the suppression of the pool water, and breaking through the energy dragon of Mu Fang's blood talisman, and instantly rushed to Mu Fang's position. The wooden sword in Mu Fang's hand erupted into a monstrous atmosphere, and it was indistinguishable from the black beam of light. At this time, Xiaoyan's complexion changed greatly, and the douqi in his body was also running to the extreme. A terrifying milky white douqi light instantly appeared, swept away wildly, and slashed the black object that came out of the cold pool. At this time, he saw that in the cold pool, a black gas was slowly appearing above the water surface, and the black gas formed a black figure, very gloomy, like a ghost. When Mu Fang saw the black ghost, his face changed slightly, and he said loudly, "Be careful, this is a very rare ghost, it is extremely powerful, it is comparable to the powerhouse in the initial stage of our 4-star Dodi, and it's very hard to deal with." After speaking, he swung the wooden sword, muttering to himself, and then suddenly sent out a dark blue brilliance, mercilessly slashing at the ghost. With a yawning grin, the ghost's body instantly turned into light smoke and disappeared from the spot. In the next instant, he appeared behind Xiaoyan. He was about to attack Xiaoyan, but unexpectedly, Xiaoyan slapped the ghost with his palm. Xiaoyan was also fighting this ghost for the first time. It felt like an attack hitting a sponge. Seeing this, the ghost spirit also hurriedly dodged, and just about to make a move, he found that there was some movement in the cold pool beside him, and then stared at the water surface of the cold pool without moving. The water surface of the cold pond was bubbling with big bubbles, and as soon as the bubbles were broken, a thicker black gas also diffused out, as if something was about to appear. "Damn it, how can there be such a level of ghost energy here? Xiaoyan, hurry up." The voice of his master, the Golden Dragon King, roared violently in Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan was shocked by the sudden voice of his master Golden Dragon King, and then he didn't bother to stop, grabbed Mu Fang who was still casting spells, and ran out quickly. Because even if his master, the Golden Dragon King, didn't remind himself, Xiaoyan's huge soul power felt an unheard of smell from the even larger black gas above the cold pond. It is the
Hi. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get updated on my latest video. Thank you for watching.